Hey Gators and sports fans, get all your Gator talk, news, analysis, and opinions on the Pod Up with Matthews in the Morning podcast. Find us on your favorite podcast platform or watch us on Facebook Live between 8 a.m. and 9 a.m. every weekday. Pod Up, because we are Gator fans. So say, it's great to be a Florida Gator.
Good morning and welcome to a Friday edition of Pod Up with Matthews in the Morning from the Crime Prevention Security System Studios, large enough to serve you, small enough to care. It's Friday, folks. We made it somehow. We got a really good show lined up today. Besides, we have Cornell kicking off the show. Second portion of the show, we're going to be joined by Florida All-American and Gator great Francesca Enea, talking Gator softball.
Franny.
The Super regionals crank up today at 5 p.m. here in town. The Georgia Bulldogs. Huge upsets last night, JC. I know you didn't follow softball.
I fell asleep, but I watched LSU and FSU until I couldn't watch it anymore because nobody scored any runs.
Well, that ended in regulation. That ended like at 9 o'clock. It was 1-0. FSU upsets LSU.
Yeah.
But the big one was the two-time National Player of the Year, Rachel Garcia, I believe is her name. They lose. UCLA gets beat 7-2 at home to Virginia Tech. It's not even ranked.
Where does Virginia Tech come from? That team just blasted through their regional as a lower seeded team, and here they are beating up on UCLA. What's going on in Blacksburg at softball?
Well, they're out in L.A. That's where they are out there with all that great tradition of the Bruin softball.
The Bruin softball with the bleachers that look like something out at Eastside High School, and
it's
a ballpark with a school with all that money and all that greatness and tradition. And I mean, the place, it looks like it's worth about $5. It's just shocking to me. QB, you notice I've got my Hurricanes Bar and Grill my shirt on here, and I'm in St. Augustine. I got my Jaguars hat. I got to get a new Jags hat though, QB, because
what's wrong with that one?
Well, the teal is a little different shade of color. This is an older Jags hat. This is Tom Coughlin Jags hat type of thing. I think I can get away with this one, but I think the teal is a little different shade, but I could be wrong. You would know better. I'll have to show you. But, Jag fever is taking off here in northeastern Florida. So at our little place over here in St. Augustine, it's just become Jaguar mania. And so I'm jumping on board. I got my Hurricanes Bar and Grill, my favorite place.
Do you think they can win? You're jumping on board to maybe win 6 games, right?
7. I said they're going over 6.5, QB. No way. There's no way. How do you know there's no way? They play 17 games. There's a way. There's absolutely
there's a reason why they set it at 6.5, okay?
Why don't they set it at 4? I mean, why didn't they set it at 5?
Because they're playing 17 games and they play the Houston Texans twice. That's why.
They do. And I think they're good to beat one of those other two at least once. So there's 3 wins right there. Well, we'll see. I'm much more optimistic than you, but I am generally more optimistic.
Can you tell me why you're optimistic real quick?
Because I love Robinson as a running back. I think they're improving on the offensive line. They will have improved on the offensive line. And I also think the quarterback is pretty darn good. And even though he hasn't played 1 snap in the NFL, I think he's a quick study. He will be fine. They've got they loaded up on the draft picks. There's still a possibility of another free agent. And defensively, I know you say they're terrible, but
they were horrible last year.
I don't care about last year. Horrible. Last year doesn't mean anything now.
I'm just telling you.
Okay.
I'm just telling you.
I know.
I'll be shocked if they win more than 6 games. Baseball. Our team beat your team, JC, yesterday.
My team.
Yeah.
Oh,
last time I checked, Alabama played the Gators yesterday. Florida wins. Florida now gets a bye. They don't play again until Saturday. Sully came out and said that all the 3 pitchers that have pitched this in our 3-game winning streak they're not pitching anymore. They're done. They will not pitch again until the regionals.
Well,
so it will be interesting to see what happens.
That's good. I liked what Sully did yesterday in the 9th inning. Leftwich was dilly-dallying around. He walks out there and says, "What's your problem?" And as soon as he comes back out of there, he walks right back in the dugout. He looks a little annoyed, and then Jack started throwing strikes. Florida, but offensively right now, and I don't know if this is a function of who they are facing on the bump, but hitting the ball, the way they handled Mississippi State, the way they handled Alabama last night, and then, of course, in the first game, they're scoring a lot of runs. Now, is this a function of the other team's pitching, not, SEC tournament, who cares kind of thing, or is Florida woken up? What do you think it is?
Well, Mississippi State didn't throw any of their
they don't.
guys against us, but they did yesterday, and Mississippi State got destroyed yesterday.
They got beat.
So
they got beat.
They're having some issues right now.
Not a good time to have issues.
No, and so, but basically, I don't. Even if Florida wins the SEC tournament, which I don't know if we can, if we don't pitch any more of our three top guys, I'm not sure. We're going to be a top 8 seed. I think that's out. I wanted to say too, the men went in men's tennis, won the national title. We all know that. But Sam Riffis, he upset the number 1 overall seed yesterday, and he's playing for the singles title.
Yeah,
I don't know if that's today or tomorrow.
He's playing great. I watched him. He's really playing well. QB, I know you're on this Gator thing real quick, but I just got to tell you, there is 7 wins on this schedule. There is. I'm looking at it. There are 7 wins.
Real quick, go down the Jaguar schedule.
Can I just tell you? Okay, start the season at Texans. Then they play the Denver Broncos at home. Why can't they be 2-0? Then they play the Arizona Cardinals at 3-0. Why can't they be 3-0? Then they play that rugged Cincinnati Bengal team. Why can't they be 4-0? Then they go and play the Titans, Dolphins before their bye week. They do play Buffalo, the Colts, and the 49ers, but they also have Atlanta later in the season. They have the Texans, of course, again. They have those New York Jets. They can beat them, and they can beat the Patriots. I'm going over 6.5. I'm telling you right now, bet it if you like money.
Okay, well, we will see. I
just gave you 7 teams they could beat.
But what makes you think they're going to beat those teams? All because they have Trevor Lawrence?
Well, I think they'll be better than last year, and I don't think those teams are.
Well, you don't think those teams are going to be any better?
I don't know why they would be.
Okay, well, why would the Jaguars be any better?
I just told you why. They have a lot of young players coming in.
Well, if I'm not mistaken, the Jets have a lot of good young players too, and they got a pretty damn good young quarterback as well. Refresh your vehicle and your brand with the vehicle wrap from Wrap Spot. May is your lucky month at Wrap Spot. Mention promo code Shane and receive 13% off your vehicle wrap. We're speaking with Johnny Jaguar on the Titan Emma hotline. I mean, how in the hell do you think the Jaguars are going to be that good?
I just told you, Bengals, Cardinals, Broncos, Texans.
You don't think? You don't
4-0.
Okay, I will bet you right now, whatever you want, that they will not be 4-0.
Well, it's possible. They got 2 home games and 2 road games in September, and not one of those teams they're playing made the playoffs last year. Not one. So that
does not mean anything in the National Football League.
Well, okay. That's what I'm saying. It's a new year. They could do it. Over 6.5 if you like money.
Okay. Well, we shall see. I'm not sold on that.
I'll tell you what, Hurricanes Bar and Grill will be hopping here on A1A.
Well, I'm sure it will be. All
right, so I got you off your train of thought.
Yeah, I've already lost train of thought because I never thought we'd be talking about the damn Jaguars today.
Well, listen, man, it's freaking what we got. We got less than 100 days until the college football season. We've got training camp starting in just over a month in the NFL. What are you talking about? We can't believe we should be talking football season every day. I mean,
I know that, but I mean, we're talking the Jaguars, dude. I'm telling you,
they are 90 miles away. I mean, my God. In fact,
the world champs are what?
They're 30
miles away.
You don't talk about them either.
Well, if you want to talk about a team that has a chance of winning, we can talk about them.
You got such a Tom Brady thing. It's between DeChambeau and Brady. Who do you like better?
Oh, I have nothing against Brady. I think Brady's the greatest of all time. I don't think he's the most talented of all time.
I never heard you say that before.
But I don't think DeChambeau is what everybody thinks he is. I mean, I'm telling you right now, if you took the PGA Tour and you had those guys try to swing as hard as they could on every damn T-ball, they could hit it just as far as he does. But
really,
look, it's very true. It's extremely true.
It's extremely true. Well,
Yes.
I had no doubt that Jordan Spieth, since you didn't have me on Wednesday, I got ripped off on the Peachland
Because you were going to
Dental
take Jordan
golf.
Spieth. I'm sure
Yes,
you were.
because he always plays Colonial well. He's from Dallas. This is in Fort Worth. He knows the area. Hell yeah, I was going to take Jordan Spieth. You'd be crazy not to. Doesn't mean he's going to win, but he's going to be close because he loves Colonial. He loves it. He grew up on that course, essentially. So, hell yeah, I was going to take him.
I've played it multiple times. If you got joint pain in your knees, shoulders, hip, or back that won't go away, you need to check out QC Kinetics for long-lasting relief, not surgery, drugs, or downtime. Schedule a free consultation at QC Kinetics, 352-400-4550. Call them today, QC Kinetics, 352-400-4550. Speaking with JC on the Titan MR hotline, we'll be joined by Francesca Enea. SEC Network, does a lot of broadcasting now. Get her thoughts. She's also still playing professional softball.
Well, back when it was free and you just walked in there and loved on the Gators.
Nobody else wanted to go. That's
back when it was free.
They laid the foundation.
I tell you what, man, they did, and she hit to this day between her and Brittany, the lefty Shooty. I don't know who hit the ball further, but I'm betting that Franny hit the longest home run ever at the hole. The longest one. The furthest hole. I mean, that ball went over the pine trees, and they used to have pine trees back there. And
Lauren Hager
she could hit one too. Yeah, she hit some bombs. Shooty hit some, but Francesca Enea was one of my favorite. And Megan
Bush,
the shortstop, Megan Bush. Of course, we had the pitcher, Stacy Nelson. You know, those teams were Stephanie Brombacher. Those were some really fun days. And look, this team's got a chance. It's obviously got a chance. It's going to go to the Oklahoma City World Series if it can beat Georgia 2 out of 3 times, which I don't see any reason why they can't. And we're going to have something to watch here in June up in OKC, dude. I mean, that's exciting. A lot of Gator fans hopefully will jump on board with this since we missed it last year, and it seems like it's been forever since we watched the College World Series in anything. So obviously in baseball and softball not playing last year, it feels like it's been a long, long time. So this is right on cue.
Yep, there's no question about it. JC, real quick, I know you're big into the NBA playoffs. I still have yet to watch one minute of the NBA playoffs.
Why is that, QB?
I don't know. Too much other stuff's going on. But the Bucks lead the Heat 3-0. The Lakers are now 2-1 over the Phoenix Suns.
That's over.
And the Nuggets have a 2-1 lead over the Portland Trailblazers. That game will probably go 7.
That series. We got the Knicks and Hawks tied at 1. The Nets will finish the Celtics off with 2 more games.
What's wrong with your Celtics, JC?
Well, you lose Tatum. And then, obviously, the Celtics have not been very, very consistent or good this year.
So are you going to buy a Nets hat?
I do think – no, I'm not buying the Nets hat. But I think Brooklyn is the team to beat in the East. I think we all know that. And out west, you hear about how good Utah is and has been, but nobody talks about Utah. And I don't think there's any question that the Lakers are going to be the team to beat out there too. Now, Milwaukee is a team that can beat any of them. But Milwaukee doesn't have a pedigree of winning. The Milwaukee Bucks, they got probably the best player in the NBA. But you could say it's Durant. You can go with LeBron or Anthony Davis, but you give me that Giannis, and I'll take my chances. So don't count out the Milwaukee Bucks. They're incredible. 17 points, 17 rebounds the other night for Giannis as they laid it on the Heat. So I like Milwaukee's chances as well. So, those are the 3 teams I'm watching, QB. The Lakers, the Nets, and the Milwaukee Bucks.
All right, well, give me a quick hockey update.
Hockey update, since you love hockey, and you should. The Tampa Bay Lightning now know who they'll play in the second round. That will be your Carolina Hurricanes. And the Carolina Hurricanes winning their second straight overtime game against the Nashville Predators. Finished that series winning at 4-2. They won 4-3 last night in overtime. Montreal stayed alive, beating Toronto. They're still down 3-2 in that series. The Lightning, of course, beat Florida, so they will play Carolina. The New York Islanders beat the Pittsburgh Penguins. They will now play the Boston Bruins. And Vegas and Minnesota have a Game 7 tonight out in Las Vegas. So, as far as we're concerned, Tampa Bay is, the team to beat here, I think, in the East. Boston will be tough, but you don't have Sidney Crosby anymore. Pittsburgh's out. You don't have Alex Ovechkin anymore. Washington is out. And I really think Colorado, and I'm not sure about the West now because I thought Vegas would have finished off Minnesota by now, but they're tied 3-3, and Colorado's waiting for them. I don't think any of the Canadian teams are a threat to win the Stanley Cup. Toronto might be the best Canadian team. Winnipeg played well, but they can't beat the Colorado Avalanche.
So how are they going to do if one of the Canadian teams make it to the Stanley Cup?
Well, that's a great question because there's so much geopolitics involved with Canada right now. Canada is a closed society. They can't figure it out with all that great healthcare they have up there. They can't figure out what to do. So everything's shut down up there. It's lock-up city. So I'm not sure. I haven't read about it because I don't think any Canadian team's a threat to win the Stanley Cup. So you got Colorado and Vegas in the West. You got Tampa and Boston in the East. That's pretty much how I'm looking at it. And we'll see. Both Tampa and Boston have to win their second round. So,
okay, all right, JC. God, there was something I was going to ask you. It was about college football. Oh, have you bought your Lindy's and Athlon's magazines yet?
No, I'm going to Publix here up on A1A after the show, and I'm going to look for that in the rack. If I can find I usually do the Phil Steele magazine.
I don't think it's out yet.
I don't think it is either. He's usually in June, so we're getting close. But yeah, I usually buy that one, QB. And then I sit on the beach in my lawn chair under a tent with my Tommy Bahama lawn chair under a tent I buy at Dick's Sporting Goods for $49 that they shoved a $6 warranty on me. And I need a warranty for a $49 tent, but I did use it once. And so it worked out. But I'm sitting under the tent in my lawn chair with my football magazine as soon as possible.
And you're going to be getting your pro. Does Lindy's have a pro magazine where you can get up on your Jaguars?
Absolutely. I'm so excited. I will get a magazine. I'll do some research on my Jaguars, and then I'll have more reasons to tell you why they're going to beat or win more than 6 games.
All right. Well, let's do our Peachland Dentistry Super Regional picks. Do you have the Super Regionals pulled up, Jason?
Well, I would ask that you might if you want to do it. But I will tell you that Florida's going to beat Georgia. Alabama's going to win. I also think you've got Arkansas. I think they're going to win theirs. So there's 3 SEC teams right there I'm going with. Florida
Do you
State.
think you got Missouri's playing James Madison?
Yeah, I like them. I love their chances. So now we've got 4 SEC teams possibly. Half the field in Oklahoma. You'll go with let's just call Virginia Tech the winner. And then
you're craziest. You think Virginia Tech's going to advance?
Well, they're up 1-0 on UCLA.
Yeah, but you know how this goes. I guarantee you. UCLA is going to win 10-1 and 12-2 the next 2 games.
We'll see. That VPI team is hot, man. So I'm taking the upset there because nobody cares out in LA. They don't care. And so that's 5. Oklahoma makes 6. The team that's Oklahoma, Washington, they're going to beat Washington. I don't have the brackets in front of me, but there's 6 for you right there. There's 6 winners right there. Missouri, Arkansas, Alabama, and Florida out of the SEC. And then you have Virginia Tech and Oklahoma. And the other 2 I'm missing. Oh, we could get Florida State in there. Okay, there's 7, or LSU, either one. But I like Florida State. I don't know why. Let's take out Florida State, sure. And then that's 7. And then the one other team would be
Arizona's playing somebody.
The Wildcats. Yeah, let's go with them. I mean, the Pac-12 has to get 1 team in, don't they?
Well, they are. They're going to get UCLA in. They're going to come back.
You don't know that? Hey, well, we'll see. I don't know. I like Virginia Tech the way they're playing.
You didn't even know they were even playing until I told you they upset them.
I did know that, but I didn't know they won. I knew they were playing out in L.A. I just didn't see that they won because I fell asleep while you were up all night with your insomnia watching women's softball.
No, I went to bed when it was in the first inning, 2-0, Virginia Tech.
Okay, sure. Mm-hmm. Well, you didn't put it on in the bedroom?
I said I went to bed, JC. That means I turned the damn lights out and went to sleep.
Oh, you fell asleep. Okay.
Yeah.
God forbid.
Oh, Arizona's playing Arkansas. So
I like Arkansas.
I like the Hogs.
Yeah, hell yeah. It's their year to get to the World Series. Doesn't mean they're going to win it. But there's 4 SEC teams right there for you. And if LSU can come back and beat FSU, they'll have 5. Then that could happen. LSU's a good team too. So, but I do think Florida and Alabama are locks. I think Missouri will beat JMU, and those 3 are going to. OKC is going to be loaded with SEC teams, and it's just going to. But Oklahoma's the team to beat. It doesn't matter. Oklahoma, we all know, is the team to beat.
We got a text here on the Titan MR text line. It comes from George. George says, "Can you please ask JC how much money he is going to put on the Jaguars over 6.5 wins?"
Ask George. I'll make a bet with him on whatever he wants. Just tell him, throw it out.
I think George is a Gator. I mean, he's a Jaguar fan as well. I don't know. Maybe he is.
Well, George, you're right. We are going.
How confident are you, JC?
Very, very confident. I don't like to disclose financial measures here on the podcast, but just know that I don't do anything half-ass. Okay, this is going to be an easy win.
Let me ask you this, because I don't know if it was on this show or somewhere else. You were talking about the win totals. Are there any win totals in the NFL that you would go under?
I think I would probably go under the Seahawks. I don't think they're going to win 10 games, and I think it's 10. It's either 9 or 10 for them. I'm going to say
they go 10-7. They can go 10-7.
Well, then that's a push. That's not a win. That's not a loss. Right. So I mean, they could, I guess, but I think that West Division is really, really tough. I think the Niners are going to be better.
My point is, if we went down all the win totals for all the NFL, I guarantee you there's not one that you go, that's going under.
Oh, there is. That's not true. There is absolutely. And if let me see here. Just give me a second. I can pull up these win totals because it's in my bookmarks, darn it. But I did see a couple that looked somewhat high to me. It's shocking to me that an NFL team could have a win total of 4 before the season starts, but there will be somebody like the Houston Texans that will have a very bad season. Cleveland is a team, everybody's giving them a lot of hype. I still think it's the Steelers or the Ravens. I can't quite get my hands around Cleveland. Their total is 10.5. That means that Cleveland would have to win 11 games.
Well, they went to the playoffs last year.
I know they did, and they it's a good division. It's a good division. I think Cincinnati will improve this year if Burrow stays healthy. But man, I just don't know about Cleveland winning 11 games. That's another one.
I think they got a better chance of winning 11 games than the Jaguars do 7.
Do you? Well,
they got better players.
Well, you know how that is. 17 games. I don't know. I would – shucks. I wish I had it in front of me. I had it. We talked about this last week. Oh, well. I don't have it in front of me.
All right. Well, JC, you going to play any golf while you're at the beach?
Yeah. No, it's a leisurely weekend.
You're going to work on your tan?
Well, there's, of course, the Mediterranean olive skin that I present. But when you're French, Italian, French, this is what you're blessed with. You're lucky. But I would say that a lot more so than an Irish German, maybe. But I would say that we have a large contingent of friends and folks rolling in this weekend over here at beautiful St. Augustine, Crescent Beach, whatever you want to call it. And the weather's going to be absolutely ideal, very hot. So when I come back, I'm going to look maybe even darker than you with your Indian heritage. So that would be impressive, I think, if I could pull that off.
I try to stay
well, you're going to be out there on the golf course. You're going to be on the golf course for 6 hours today. So
I use my sunscreen there, JC.
Okay. You're a copper tone guy or a Hawaiian Tropic?
I use whatever 100% SPF.
By the way, Hawaiian Tropic is my brand. It's my brand. A lot of folks like Banana Boat. It's made by the same company, but Hawaiian Tropic beats copper tone. It always has. Hawaiian Tropic is your brand for the sun, baby.
Yeah, but I'm trying not to get sun.
I'm just saying that's the sunscreen you want. That's the screen. That's the sun protection. Hawaiian Tropic, bro. Look, I'm from Florida. I know more about this than you do. You're from Mississippi. You don't know anything about beaches, okay? You know about hunting bears and deer and walking out in the woods and sitting in tree stands. That's your world, okay? We go to the beach down here.
Oh, goodness.
Oh, geez.
Where's this show going?
Mississippi guys, they play football on Friday nights. They play stickball in the streets on Saturday and basketball. Mississippi.
That's what we do. That's how we roll. There's no question about it. All right, JC. Real quick before we let you go, you got any Tebow updates for us since you're now a Jaguars fan?
No, I think he wears 85. Is that the number?
He does wear 85. Why don't you buy a jersey? Next Monday, by the way.
Dude,
I don't know if we're going to make the team. I need to find out.
Yes,
but
you do.
You need to order, since you order all these hats and shirts online, I expect you to order a number 85 jersey.
He's got to make the team before I order anything. But I'm not really a jersey dude. I like wearing hats. Now, in hockey games, I will wear a jersey for a hockey sweater. Sure, I'll wear that at a hockey game because everybody does. But football, I've never gotten into wearing football jersey. I don't. I like.
Take that back. You did have a
Todd Gurley jersey.
Todd Gurley Rams jersey, and the very next year he gets cut.
That Todd Gurley jersey isn't worth the dish rag I've got in the sink over here, but maybe it is. I don't know. I just know that. Oh, I'm a Rams season ticket holder, by the way, QB. You know that too. So anybody who wants Rams tickets, hit me up. For our West Coast listeners and viewers.
Daniel says here on Facebook Live, brought to you by Metal Law. News online here is Tebow is jacked. I'm not sure what that means.
That means he's in shape. But so what?
Pretty much everybody, all the other. Look, how many they got in camp? All the other 89 players are jacked too.
They're all jacked. And speaking of Jack, I think Miles Jack's going to have a big year for the defense. So I just get set. They're going to be better. I'm just here to tell you.
And can't be worse. I'm telling you, they had like the worst defense in the league last year.
Well, when they get better this year, and you're right, they can't get worse. But Northeast Florida is going to be a hotbed of NFL football action. I've got friends that got season tickets.
Yeah, but let me ask you this, JC. I hope they do well. But what if they start the year 0-2, 0-3?
That'd be upsetting.
Yeah.
I don't know if Urban can handle that, but hopefully Urban realizes that going 7-8, 7-9, 7-10 rather, or 8-8 first year in the NFL, that's going to be a very successful year.
If they win 2 games, it's better than they were last year.
It is, but you know how Urban Myers is. He doesn't take losing well. Not many do, but some lose a lot more than he loses. And he's had problems. Look, he's got to understand that this is not the Big Ten, and I'm sure he does. And there's no question that he knows that they're not going 15-2. So, let's see how he handles an NFL. Don't you think it's interesting that Urban Myers is going to be an NFL coach? Aren't you curious to see how that's going to translate?
No, I think it's great. I think the only reason he took that job was because who he got to draft first.
And not just the first pick, but he had a lot of draft picks. He's got a lot of money.
I'm talking about he got to take a franchise quarterback. That's a difference maker.
Well, sure. But it takes a lot more than that to win in the NFL. And they have a lot of picks. They have a lot of picks. They have a lot of money to spend, or they've had. And I just can't imagine them not winning a lot more football games. They will win a lot more football games, and the ticket sales, I think, are going to go through the roof.
Comfort's our business. Peace of mind is our promise. From now until May 31st, get a preventative maintenance plan for $169 and save almost 40% off the normal cost. You got to hurry to get that deal.
I mean,
maintenance schedule between now and May 31st. You'll be entered to win a Nest thermostat with installation. Guess what happened on this day in sports? In 1742, JC.
I didn't know we had sports back then.
It's really not sports, but for some reason it comes up on this day in sports. The first ever indoor swimming pool opened up in London,
and they didn't
1742.
And they had no chlorine, so that means that they had to empty that pool and put water back in it literally every other day. Yeah, what do you think of that?
How'd you like that, though? That's what happened this day in sports in 1742.
I didn't know building a swimming pool was a sporting event, but that's what you got for us today. Good job.
Yep, that's great information.
That's impressive, QB.
All right, JC, enjoy
Did you think the Tampa Bay Bucks were winning the Super Bowl at this time last year? Hell no. So I'm just saying it could.
No, but I did know they were going to be pretty good.
Yeah, well, the Rams beat the living crap out of them. and the New Orleans Saints blew them out twice. It's a long season, QB. They're going to win more. Jags are winning more than 6.
Maybe they will. I hope they do. I'm just saying, what if they don't? What if they go 3-14?
It'd be awful.
Yeah.
I would think the only reason that happens is they suffer a lot of injuries and things break down. But injuries are part of the game, and everybody has them. So I get that. Jacksonville, though, is a team that I think can't afford to have a lot of guys missing because they just don't have.
Do you think the Jaguars or the Dolphins are going to be better this year?
Probably Miami will win more games. I do think so. But I will also tell you this: Miami, well, it's hard to say. I mean, their division, to me, they have a Super Bowl contending team in their division. The Jaguars do not. Now, the Colts will be better. The Titans are always tough, but nobody's beaten Kansas City on that side, I don't think. And the Bills still have a chance, I think, to maybe compete with KC. I don't know. But the Bills are going to be the team to beat in that division. There's no question about that, in my mind.
Well, I don't see how the Jaguars can beat the Titans or the Colts, but we'll see.
Yeah, we'll see.
All right, JC, have a good weekend.
Okay, we'll see you Monday. Later. Are we doing Monday or we'll figure it out?
I'll let you know. I'll find out from our staff what's going on.
Well, it's your show, bro.
That's right.
You're the boss. All right.
All right. That's JC. Join us on the Titan MR hotline. We're going to take our first time out of the pro. When we come back, we'll be joined by All-American softball player Francesca Enea on the Titan MR hotline. You're watching and listening to Pot Up with Matthews in the Morning.
We want to take this moment to thank all our sponsors who keep the show going and pay the bills. Our gridiron sponsors are Crime Prevention Security Systems, large enough to serve you, small enough to care. Titan MRI, Gainesville's only locally owned and operated MRI facility. Meldon Law, where you matter most. Peachland Dental, Gator Nation's first choice for dentistry in Port Charlotte. Comfort Temp, comfort is our business, peace of mind is our promise. G-Tech Sport, keep your athletes in the game with G-Tech Sport. QC Kinetics, non-surgical regeneration, live pain-free. Celebration Point Town Center, Center State Bank, Chris Doring Mortgage. Some of our touchdown sponsors are Big Mills Cheesesteaks, MB Listing, Cornerstone Financial, McDonald's of Gainesville, My IT Masters, Gainesville Neon and Signs, 84 Lumber, Tropical Smoothie Cafe, Chick-fil-A on Archer Road, Avra and Smith, Dowling Signs, Chomp Harder Apparel, Ruse Ogra Agent, State Farm Insurance, Silver Cube Billiards and Sports Bar. If you are interested in promoting your business on the show, visit potupwithshane.com and click the advertise button. Again, thank you to all the great businesses that support the show. If you like what we are doing here, make sure to follow us and support the businesses that support us.
Welcome back to the Crime Prevention Security System Studios, Celebration Points, where the Gators go to celebrate with premium brands like Regal Cinemas, Dave & Buster's, Nike, Palmetto Moon, Skechers, and coming summer of 2021, the HBC's new restaurant, Spurrier's Gridiron Grill, and Visors Tailgate and Rooftop Bar. We will see you at Celebration Point, where the Gators go to celebrate. We're now going to go to the Titan MR hotline, and we're going to be joined by All-American softball player number 10, Francesca Enea. Good morning, Francesca. How are you?
Good. How are you doing?
I'm doing well. Appreciate you taking the time to talk a little softball. Super Regionals crank up today. But before we talk about that, I want to go back to young Francesca. I think you grew up in California, if I'm not mistaken. And were you in Tim's first or second recruiting class?
I was, I guess you would say, I don't know about class. I was his first recruit. So
first recruit. Okay, that's where I'm going with this.
Yeah.
Because obviously growing up in California, UCLA, I mean, the Pac-12, that's probably little girl wants to go play in the Pac-12.
Mm-hmm.
So Tim Walton comes in here, and if you look at his roster, especially early on, he had a bunch of girls from California. What made Francesca Enea want to come all the way across the country to play for Tim Walton at the University of Florida?
Yeah, so at the time I lived in LA. I was playing for probably like the most premier travel ball team, the youth travel ball team in California. And looking to get recruited. I wasn't like in love with UCLA. There was just something about it being so close to home, so familiar, and it's just what like everyone wanted to do. And I didn't want to do what everyone wanted to do. And so at the time, I was driving home from a softball practice, and my dad goes, "Hey, Tim Walton got the head coaching job at the University of Florida." Because at the time he was at Wichita State. And unfortunately, I was not going to go to Wichita State. So, and, being a silly little girl from LA, I go, "Oh, University of Florida, I've never heard of them." I was like,
Wow.
"What's their mascot?" And he goes, "I think they're a gator." And I'm like, "Oh, I could be a gator." And so like from that moment on, I was like super intrigued with the fact that Coach Walton got this head coaching job at University of Florida. And the biggest reason why I knew of who Tim Walton was is because he was the assistant coach at Oklahoma University, and he recruited my older sister there. So he was really close with my family. I knew him when I was like 7 years old, when he was trying to get my sister to go to OU. And he ended up coaching my sister for 1 year before he took that Wichita State job. And my older sister said he was just the best coach. And the thing that came out of her mouth that sold me on him was he was the reason why I became an All-American. So when my sister told me that, and he was going to a big premier Power 5 conference, and it was so different than what the norm was to go to a Pac-12 conference school, or at the time Pac-10, it was just, no one ever really did it. So I was like, let's do it. Let's pack up my bag and move 3,000 miles away and go play for this coach that my sister just boasted so highly about. And she also said that going to a school that has a good football program is really fun. Because again, I'm from LA. The whole SEC college football scene was so foreign to me. I knew nothing about it. And so she said that, I was like, okay, I'm game. I'm going to do it.
Yeah. So was it difficult early on in your career? I mean, it was like you, Megan Bush, I think Kelsey Bruder was from out there. To be so far away from home, how difficult was that when you were, a freshman at Florida?
It was really tough because even my freshman year, Kelsey Bruder, Megan Bush, Asia Bakulba, who are all from California, they're actually 1 year younger than me. So being that I was Coach's first recruit, I was really the first one out of Cali for him. So it was tough at first because I was so far away from my safety zone, my safety net, and Los Angeles is very different than Gainesville. So that was like tough too. But the hardest thing for me was honestly the humidity. I did not understand it. I still don't really get it. The fact that you just can't like do your hair and it stays like all day was like so crazy to me. And like the sweating, like you don't sweat in California. So when I first moved to Gainesville, I was like, what is this stuff? This is terrible. So those first 6 months of just figuring out how to do my hair, how to make it look good when I play, that was pretty difficult.
That's funny. At Chris Doring Mortgage, they do mortgage lending right, helping home buyers throughout Gainesville and North Central Florida. Call Chris Doring Mortgage today at 352-244-0840. Speaking with Francesca Enea on the Titan More hotline. You can follow her on Twitter at FranEnea10. She does a lot of good work on the SEC network calling games as well. We got a couple of Facebook Lives here. Dan, and I wanted to talk about this. Dan says, thanks for setting the foundation for a great program, Francesca. I was Coach Spurrier's first quarterback when he got the job here. So we won a couple of SEC titles, but we didn't win any national championships. But we kind of laid the foundation for what came afterwards. That's kind of what your teams did. I was fortunate enough. I was out there when y'all played for the national title against Washington. I can't remember what year. I lose track of time. But what does it mean to you when you sit at home and you watch these games? You're working and calling softball now. You and your class and some of the other girls from California, y'all basically built this Gator softball program. That's got to be a good feeling, right?
I mean, it's a great feeling. It's just so cool for me to see my coach continue to succeed, especially because I can remember very specifically and like vivid times of him when he was recruiting me, talking to my parents at, a softball field and telling us his dream, right? Like telling us what he envisions for this program back in 2005. And so now here I am in 2021 and seeing his dreams come to vision and come to real life is just so incredible. At the time, all we were doing was playing the sport we loved, and we believed in our leader. We believed in what Coach Walton was bringing to us. And we just wanted to support him and play the very best ball that we could. I think the coolest thing, though, too, is a lot of the players that he was able to capture and able to recruit were missed recruits. Players that, didn't get those Pac-12 opportunities because they didn't fit this like mold for them. And Coach Walton was like, come over here. Like, I have a great place for you where you can thrive and where you're going to play your very best softball. And that's why Coach Walton gets so many great recruits, is because he's such a family man, and he's going to work you hard. He's going to work you to make sure that you are going to play your very best softball. And that's why people want to come and play for him so badly, because they want to get better. And that's what he's able to do. And so when I look back on the foundation that people say, all we were doing was playing the game that we loved so much, being led by our leader in Coach Walton, whom we respected so much. And now to see, when they won their national championships in 2014 and 2015, I'm a very competitive person, and it actually surprises me that I'm not jealous whatsoever about those national championships, because it just makes me so darn proud to see the program grow and to become an iconic program in the softball realm.
Speaking of seeing that program grow, obviously you've been back since they've added on, and that nice locker room they have. What's that like? I mean, obviously you wish you could have played in that stadium, how it's built now with the amenities that all the girls have. But again, it goes back to, if you guys hadn't won and laid the foundation, the girls now wouldn't have that great facility.
Yeah, I love it. I think they need stuff like that. They need to make sure that they have everything that's up to date to make sure that we get the great recruits. And I say we because I still very much believe I'm still part of this program and still part of making sure that the success continues. So I love the fact that the University of Florida, the AD, is investing in the sport of softball and giving this team what they deserve as far as the amenities, as far as, video review, being able to have their own room to be able to go over videos of swings and pitching, the big pitching lab that they have for the pitchers out there, the cages. I love seeing all the updates that they're able to get. And at the end of the day, the field is actually still the same. And that's where you're working, right? Like if I'm standing in the batter's box and I'm looking out at the pitcher, it's still that same view. It's still the same tunnel vision of what do I have to do to win? So it's like the field is different, but it's not that different. I would say, though, the one thing that I wish I still had, and this Coach Walton used to always say this to my team, is we used to make fun of him for not getting us cool Nike gear. And he would say, win something, and then you can get the cool stuff. So we were like, okay, we'll go and win. And then we did, but then I graduated and I still haven't gotten it. So now all these kids are getting it. So it's come on, I won something, give me the cool Nike stuff.
Exactly. Francesca, when you look back at your career, you were a home run hitter. Is what stands out in your mind? Is there one home run that you ever hit, or one moment at one game that stands out the most in your mind?
I always get tough. I get stuck on two, so I have to say the two. The one was a walk-off home run against FSU in extra innings. It was a late night Wednesday game, and the fans were packed because it was FSU. FSU thought they were going to win. I don't know why they thought that, because we're better than them, obviously. But they played us tight. And I just remember stepping up into the box and thinking, all right, I'm done with this. It's time to show them why we're the best. I remember thinking that very vividly, and then hitting that walk off. And I was like, dang, why can't that happen all the time when I just say something I want to do? But then my other one, which I feel I have to say, is because it was my senior day, and right before the game, my now husband proposed to me. And also at the time, I was tied for the SEC home run record. And in my second at-bat of that game, I hit a home run that broke the SEC home run record. So I got a husband and I got a record. So that was okay.
That's awesome. From a team standpoint, I'm thinking back to the years you played, the one moment that stands out to me was an Oklahoma City Allie Gardner's home run, or is a grand slam, right, against Alabama.
Yes.
That's back when they had the little portable fence, right?
Yes.
In the outfield, those little mesh fences. Yeah. So that's the one thing. Talk a little bit about what it was like to play out in Oklahoma City.
It's a dream. It's something that when you watch ESPN, when you watch those players play in OKC, the Women's College World Series, that is where you envision being. That's where you want to go. That's what all your hard work, all the torture that you put on your mind to get recruited is to end up there, is to be that team on that field of Hall of Fame Stadium. So being able to walk on that field to compete for the Women's College World Series, it's incredible. It's like all the lights are on there. And especially for, young females, for college female athletes, we don't really get a lot of big spotlights. We don't get all the fancy, TV time all the time. Like we don't get treated sometimes like the college football players do. So when you get to go to the Women's College World Series, you feel like a superstar for your very first time in your career. And it's very overwhelming, but in such a great way. And the moment, though, the teams that are able to win are the teams that are able to turn that wow factor off the moment they say, go play. And that's when you have to really focus and remember it's still the same sport. You see those the two white chalk lines, it's still 60 feet turn left. And if you take your eyelids and you look up and you see all the fans that are around you, then that's when you're going to get overwhelmed with that moment, as opposed to just trying to keep your head down and remembering it's just a game that you've been playing since you were 5. And I think that's a big reason why Miss Allie Gardner was able to get that big hit for us when we needed it. If she doesn't get that hit for us, we then have to we had to come back and play that if necessary game. And there was already going to be an if necessary game. So our game was not going to start until like 11 p.m. I was actually on the base path when she hit that ball, and off of the bat, it looked like it was going to be a pop-up. And I remember turning around, or I was on second base and I was running home, and I'm thinking to myself, we're not going to play this game till 11. Like, what the heck? This stinks. Like, we should have won this game. And in the moment I hit third base, I heard Coach Walton start whispering, like, go ball, go ball, go. And I'm like, where's it going? And like, I looked over my shoulder. I was like, oh my gosh, it's going over the fence, walk off, grand slam, we win.
Yeah, that was awesome. So after you graduate from Florida, you play some professional ball, I think with the Orlando Pride there in Orlando, or the U.S. AAA Pride, I should say. What was it like playing pro ball? I think you're now retired. I think you said you retired in 2013. Did you enjoy playing professional softball?
I did. I loved playing it. It really allowed me to grow as a player and a person. As a player, I was always been told what to do. Like, with college softball, they're very structured. You have your BP times here. This is when you show up. This is when you leave. And here are the things we're working on. From a professional standpoint, it's really like on your own. And so that was an adjustment, but it was a great adjustment because then I started picking the minds of my teammates and finding things that they've honed in on their own craft and things that they've learned at their own universities. And so then I just became like a sponge and started learning new routines and new ways that I could try to better my own craft. And so I loved that aspect of it. I also love the aspect of, working out on your own time, not being forced to do things like when they tell you to do it. Cause I'm a hard worker and I want like all the reps. I want to wake up in the morning, go to the gym. Then I want to go and get more front toss. Then I want to go back to the gym. I just love the flexibility of being able to work as hard as you need that day, or maybe work as little you needed that day.
Yep. So now you're broadcasting, working for the SEC Network and ESPN. Have you enjoyed calling games? Is it difficult for you when you're calling a Gator game to say like we or us? Have you caught yourself doing that at all?
I have not, because I take what I do very seriously and I love what I'm able to do. And I also take this approach of my voice is supposed to help support those players that are on the field, whether they're wearing a Gator uniform or whether they're wearing an FSU uniform. It's my job to ensure that I am representing those players as best to my ability so that they get the attention and they get that the attention that they deserve, right, on their craft of what they're able to do. I will say I will get frustrated when I'm calling a Gator game and they're not playing the way that I feel like they should. And in between Gator breaks or commercial breaks, I'll be like, why did they do that? I definitely do that. But in the game, I'm pretty focused. And I just really make sure that I'm doing my very best for those players.
So let's talk super regionals. Gators play Georgia. Everybody expects them to move on. Another great season by Tim Walton. I tell everybody, the regular season for Florida softball has kind of gotten boring. I know that sounds silly, but it is. It's like you're going to be in the postseason. They're going to host a super regional, and they're probably going to get to Oklahoma City. But when you look at this team, what do you see? What do they have to do to be very competitive in OKC if they were to make it?
Well, I mean, you talk about a Georgia-Florida matchup, and all of a sudden the Gator in me gets nervous because it's such a rival team. And of course, if you look back to the last time these teams faced each other in a super regional setting back in 2016 in Gainesville, Georgia took the first 2 games and upset the number 1 seed in the Gators, who at that time, that team had won 2 national championships. Let's not forget that. So that was probably one of the best teams that ever played in a Gator uniform. So there's going to be some redemption that I believe that Coach Walton is just fueling to the team right now, trying to remind him about the last time that this team did come out to play them. Florida's the top seed, but Georgia, they fight, man. I got to cover their regionals this past weekend, and the regular season Georgia team versus the postseason Georgia team is very different. And I know Coach Tim Walton, he's a very prepared man, and he knows that. And he's still going to have those bitter feelings that happened back in 2016. So I feel like Florida is going to be so prepared for all of those scenarios that you cannot necessarily plan for, and for those intangibles of those emotions back from when they got upset to, hey, this is still a rival team too, not just a super regional. You guys have to show up and you have to just slam it down their throat. It's a very talented team that the Gator team has. I think I've never seen a team this with such great chemistry that Florida has right now. And the biggest thing that they have going for them is that they know how to get that big hit. They know how to produce when their backs are up against the wall. It started with Hannah Adams' walk-off home run against Missouri, however many weeks back that was. And then the moment Adams hit that home run, that is when the rest of the team figured out, hey, if she can do this, if she can come away with that game-winning home run, I can too. And then Charlotte Eccles joined the party, Kendall Lindemann, and then even this last weekend, you had a freshman, Sarah Longley, step up and hit her first career home run. So you're starting to see Florida realize just how good they are when the pressure is the highest. And that's what it takes to succeed in postseason.
Yep, no question. We got one last question here on Facebook Live brought to you by Meldon Law before we let you go. John wants to know, Francesca, do you ever find yourself questioning Coach Walton's coaching moves, or do you understand the why behind his coaching moves as a spectator?
If there is one thing that I learned at a very young age, is that Coach Walton's always right. Even if you double think and you're like, I don't know, he's right. He is always right. I will never forget my first year playing on the USSSA Pride professionally. Coach Walton was actually the coach, and he's coaching 8 Olympians at the time. You had Jessica Mendoza, Lauren Lappin, Caitlin Lowe, Natasha Watley, the list goes on. And he was like, we're going to practice this play right now. And all of the girls were like, this play will never happen. Why are we practicing this? And he goes, for the one chance that it does, we're going to execute it perfectly. And of course, the next weekend, that play happened and it saved the ball game. He knows everything. He is so right. I never question anything he does. I will maybe sometimes send him a text like, hey, what do you think about this? Or what are you seeing for why you're doing this? Because I want to know his reasoning. I want to know his why. And then usually I always agree with it because he's the man.
That's right. Well, Francesca, we appreciate you taking the time today to join our program. We want to thank you for being a great Gator and laying the foundation for our softball program. You're awesome. And thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you so much for having me. Go Gators.
Yep, that's Francesca Enea. Join us on the Titan MR Hotline. Today's show is going to be a wrap, folks. Hope you have a great weekend. We'll see you next week.